Cleveland Cavaliers are waiting for the winner. Klay Thompson and the Golden State Warriors roared back to win Game 6 and force a Game 7 against James Harden and P.J. Tucker and company. Kevin Durant looking for back-to-back.
Do they always ride together?
They ride in the same vehicle. They ride in the same vehicle. Yes.
Steph Curry and the Warriors looking to return.
It's a van. They drive in a van. I guess they live
to
with each other.
the Western Conference, to the NBA Finals. Only you guys can get sidetracked by how guys get to the arena.
I mean, I've never seen guys walk in the arena every game on a home game.
P.J. Tucker's an Uber driver, okay? It's been said. Now you know. No. Hey, welcome, everybody. It's Game 7 of the Western Finals here on TNT. Ernie Johnson, Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley. First things first on this Memorial Day, as we remember those who gave their lives in defense of this country. We say thank you, and we remember fondly the sacrifice.
We admire, respect them, and the greatest country in the world, we do the worst job of taking care of our vets also, the ones who are still alive. We need to address that.
I was raised by a military man, so they know how much I love them. You know, my father was a drill sergeant for a long time, so during basic training, as a matter of fact, every morning I've seen the hard work these guys have put in, and I've always said that our military men and women in this country are underpaid. I want to let you know I appreciate you, we appreciate you, we love you, and happy Memorial Day.
Thank them anytime. Thank them every time you see them.
Without question. I think overall we all feel the same sentiment.
70 years ago, first Game 7 in league history.
How did that go, Ernie?
And it involved, I'm going to get to that. It involved one of the franchises playing in this Game 7 tonight. It was the Philadelphia Warriors beating the St. Louis Bombers, and it wasn't even close, 85-46 on the road.
46 points?
85-46.
Well, you're not going to win many games scoring 46 points anyway.
But that happened 70 years ago. Of course, now you're looking at 2018, and you're looking at Game 7 between the Warriors and the Rockets, and the question on everybody's mind is Chris Paul going to play? Is Andre Iguodala going to play? We have the answers from the sideline reporters who are working this series. We'll start with Kristen Ledlow on the Houston side. So what's the answer on CP3?
As you know, Ernie, he was ruled out for Game 6 with that right hamstring strain. And moments ago, Coach D'Antoni that CP would also be ruled out for this Game 7. He was considered a game-time decision. He's been reevaluated day-to-day since the injury, but Coach D'Antoni said it was just too early. Chris wanted to play, but at this point, he knew he could be a detriment to the team. He will be dressed out. He'll be on the bench just like he was in Game 6. And if the Rockets were to advance to the NBA Finals, he could be ready for Game 1, but the staff's expectation is that he'd be ready by Game 3, depending on his response to treatment. For more on the Warriors side, our Hall of Famer David Aldridge is standing by. DA?
Well, Kristen, the Warriors, after their big win in Game 6, come into this Game 7 with a lot of confidence, but they will not come into it with Andre Iguodala. That bone bruise that he suffered earlier in this series simply has not responded quickly enough to treatment, and he will sit out tonight. And yet the Warriors know that they can win this game. They have won here before on the road, and they believe that the 4 years of experience that they've had during this championship run enables them to be able to stand up to what will be a blast furnace of pressure.
He's totally frustrated, and if he could play, he would play, but he just has not, his body has not responded to this point. We're still hoping that over the next few days, if we're able to win tonight, that he will make some improvement, but he just has not gotten where he needs to be.
I took a tip from some PGA guys who used to tell me when they're out there on the course, and it gets kind of log jam on a couple holes, and they gotta slow themselves down in between shots so that they can pace themselves for a 5-hour, 6-hour round, wherever it is. Took that as a way, like even the way that you do your whole pregame warm-up routine, or how you go through two-line layups, just take it a little slow, because your mind might be processing things a lot faster.
Now the Warriors did get one bit of good injury news. Kevon Looney was on the injury report with a toe, but he will play tonight. In fact, he's likely to start in this big Game 7, EJ.
Thank you very much, D.A. It was funny that yesterday in his media availability, Steve Kerr was notified that Kevon Looney was questionable for Game 7. That was news to him. He said, well, you know what that means? He says, I'm going to question him tonight and tell him he's playing in Game 7. And so Looney will be available tonight. What we saw in Game 6, Steve Kerr says, look, I have no idea why our team is like this, meaning how can you play that poorly and unfocused in one half and then be so dominant in the second half? But they certainly were in Game 6 as they tied this series, Shaq.
You know, a lot of times when you're really, really good, you have to be challenged all the time. I know these guys have a lot on their mind, but they just got punched in the face and smacked around. And, Steve Kerr probably let them have it at halftime. And, the good thing about them is they have the ability, and they've been doing it all year, of coming out third quarters playing really hot. And, they know they had a lot on the line. And, Chuck said it, Kenny Stammer said it, Klay Thompson would save the day. Because the other two superstars still really had to have the, superstar type game. Klay Thompson just came out of nowhere and exploded. But, this team has always been able and capable of coming out third quarter smoking. And no lead is safe for this team. They got a lot of deadly three-point shooters.
I know that, Kenny, we're gonna show an on-court breakdown that you recorded earlier. We're gonna do that a bit later in this show. But for Charles right now is this question: can the Rockets win this game without Chris Paul?
Ernie, I got no idea. I would be surprised if the Rockets won this game. I'd be totally surprised. I mean, without Chris, there's no way the Rockets should win. But people have been asking me, I have no idea what's going to happen tonight. The Warriors, if they play their best, they're the better team without Chris Paul. The Rockets, if they get off to a great start, like they did in Game 6, now that game will translate here because they have this place will be on fire. But if the Rockets if the Warriors come out and play like they did in the second half, they're going to win the game. So I never try to get on TV and act like I know what's going to happen. I give an educated guess. Sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong.
Sometimes you're wrong.
So I don't know what's going to happen tonight. I ain't going to even lie.
Kenny, do you have a better idea of what's going to happen tonight than Charles does?
Well, I'd say this. The one thing that the Rockets don't have is the luxury that Steve Kerr has. If you were playing chess, Steve Kerr, he has like 3 or 4 queens on his board. They're multiple dimensional. They could be interchanged in different areas. They can have length. They can play small. They can play big. Mike D'Antoni can only play one way. He has to play the way they have: isolation, quick hitters, and that's it. Where Steve Kerr can all of it. He hasn't even played like a guy like JaVale McGee. I know we make fun of him at times, because he deserves it. No, but when he's been very efficient through these runs, then Bell comes in. He's been efficient. Then Looney at times last series, and not as much of this series, but last series been super effective. He has the interchangeability and the adaptability that Mike D'Antoni does not have with this team. They can only win really one way.
Let me just say 2 things. Number 1, black people don't play chess. We play checkers and dominoes.
Wait, what are you talking about?
That's right.
You don't play chess?
Right.
We do not.
We do not play chess.
Black people don't play.
We play checkers and we play dominoes.
I'm not saying we don't play those.
Uno too.
But that is
play Uno too.
But I think he said Mike D'Antoni was playing chess.
No,
he
black
said the
people
Rockets
play chess.
I'm just letting
These
you know.
two knuckleheads.
Okay, let me say this, Ernie. I think the only way the Rockets can win, James Harden would have to have a LeBron James type game where he totally controlled the tempo. When I say that, because Kenny always talks about the point guard control the tempo of the game. I don't think the Rockets can run with the Warriors, only playing 5 or 6 players. So James would have to have a LeBron type game where he got 40, 10, and 10, and the other guys would have to chip in. That's the Rockets' only hope, because they don't have. It would have to be a James Harden masterpiece for the Rockets to win the game, in my opinion.
And they've got to protect the ball as well. You see the numbers for those who are guarding James Harden. They've had more success with Klay Thompson than either Curry or Durant. but turnovers have killed the Rockets. They had 21 of them in Game 6 for 23 points. In the series, they have 97 assists and 96 turnovers.
You know, definitely got to take care of the ball, especially against this Golden State team, because they come down, hit you with a layup, hit you with a three. But I would like Mike D'Antoni to come in and give a Gene Hackman Hoosier type speech. And I would like his speech to be, see this fellow right here? Chris Paul. He's done a lot. We know what we have to do. We don't need to go over no plays. Let's do it for Chris tonight. City's behind us. Everybody's behind us. We beat this team before. We know what we got to do. Let's do it for Chris tonight. Let's just come out and have an inspired game.
And no turnovers.
No turnovers.
No turnovers.
Because it's Game 7.
Ernie,
we know they played. They know our plays.
Remember, I told you that before this series started. I said the one concern I had was when the Rockets, they played nonchalant with the ball, and they'll turn into 10-0 bursts against the Warriors. And if they I'm going to give you a number. I'm going to say 12. If the Rockets have 12 turnovers or less, they got a chance tonight.
The winner of the turnover battle has won each game of this series. And again, 21 of them by the Rockets in Game 6. Unpopular opinion, Charles Barkley is sexy.
Hey, baby, that ain't no unpopular opinion.
It's just a rare one.
First of all, that's not my body.
Oh, yes,
We know that's a lot slimmer than your body.
Yes,
Hey,
a lot slimmer.
thank you, darling. I am a big, sexy man.
That's quite a sweater you had on there.
That was actually a